I included a trigger warning at the beginning, which was very important to do, of course. And I had a few people come up to me afterwards and comment either in a message or like a text or something and say, you know, that was really upsetting. That was I didn't like, that was a lot. That maybe was too much. And I guess my thought was, how do you think you're supposed to feel when you're watching that scene? Like, if that was really upsetting, I think that says something good about you.
We connected with it on many levels, and I know you read our review, and the one part where we kind of went, and we don't know if this was because of how it was directed or how it was written, and you can correct us, tell us we're wrong, we didn't get it, was the part where he actually went to go hit her, where he actually hits her in like the final, I want to say the final scene, but it's not the final scene, it's like the scene before the final scene. That actual hitting moment, for some other reason, kicked us out. And it wasn't like, and maybe that's what you were going for. So please correct us. Like, what were you going for in that moment?
I had been dancing with the audience up until that point. And then I wanted there to be no question about what they were seeing, and at least at a certain point too, I didn't want to protect those people for like 15 seconds. I wanted to kind of hands off and just show it for what it was. And even then, as a lot of people know, that is still kind of cloaked in theater. It's still stage punches. It's still, so show for what it is kind of, that might be an ambitious phrase, but as much as you could possibly do on a stage.
One of the things we know about just from our backgrounds is something called the theater of cruelty. And there was actually a play. Okay, was he a playwright or just a creative person? Because I gotta say this correctly. Yeah.
He was just a theater maker in the, you're talking about theater of cruelty?
Yeah.
Poland?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is where he knows more technical theater than I do. I remember like broad strokes. But one of the things they would do is they would do these like violent things on stage, and you would, and then they would be like, "Oh, audience, why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you stop him?" And I kind of felt like that when I was watching it. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like, if I was watching in person, I don't know if I would have like gotten up, said something, and maybe that's good. I just want to know how you felt about it. We're bringing in all these technical things, but basically theater of cruelty, something really violent or vicious or disgusting happens on stage, and the audience doesn't know what to do. And then of course this person comes on and is like, well, why didn't you stop them? Why didn't you stop this from happening? And so that's what we're describing.
Fascinating, first of all. That's very interesting. Yes, it's interesting too, like to draw that comparison, because the audience, the real audience of Dearie has an avatar in the janitor character. And so when you're watching the show, he is the one who could do something. Basically, you've kind of funneled yourself into him. He's there in place of you. So I think it's interesting that you say that, and I'm almost thinking that if you did, then you would delightfully not prove me wrong, but you would be like kind of a standout in the, like, I'm really condemning the audience as a whole. The show is condemning everyone who stays seated, basically. And so if someone were to have a reaction to that, I think that would be a really like gorgeous, hopeful moment.
I know that just had this thought while you were talking about how I think I finally was able to define what having a problem with, because we were so far back in the camera. Like the camera was far back, and we were watching from there when we weren't in the audience. When you're in the audience, it's like you're around the campfire with your tribe. This is your tribe. This is your family there. And so when something's happening, I know on the stage these are actors. I'm having communion with the actors. The actors are telling me a story. And so I have a feeling I would sit there I would just sit there, because unless I was personally triggered by violence, which sometimes I am, I would sit there going, oh, the actors are telling a story and I'm letting it wash over me. From that far back on the camera, I was kind of a bit of a voyeur. I felt it's almost like you feel kind of dirty watching this, because you're a voyeur. You're just like, you're watching through the window and you don't know whether it's like, do I need to get this woman help?
I think what we were left with, and I apologize if this wasn't clear, was that we were like, okay, what we need to do, something happened, and we like, you have this pull. And so in a way you kicked us out of the play, but I'm glad to hear that's almost what you were going for, is you were like, no, because in the play of abuse, I need you to see these moments and be kicked out of them in real life abuse situations. If that's what I'm getting, I'm interpreting for you. I will shut up.
No, you're nailing it. You both are, honestly, absolutely. I think especially in that scene where Tom is yelling at the neighbors on the other side of the wall, and in the printed version of the script, and they had it playing at the beginning of the recording. They said it's dedicated to the neighbors in number 7 and number 11. So the neighbors on either side of number 9. So basically it's showing the audience who would be in that other apartment just hearing it's showing them what that is, because I think that a lot of us, and myself included, before all of this, have maybe even been in a situation where you hear an unmistakable sound and you know what that probably was, and you turn your TV up to give them some privacy. You hear sounds of distress, you hear something, and all you want to do is just give them their space, So yes, absolutely. And it's so interesting that you mentioned that the distance actually made it, the distance made it feel closer in a way. Yeah. I liked the word voyeur. That was really accurate. Now I'm thinking about how the recording looked, and I can definitely see that. I can see that. Well, yeah, that's an interesting observation.
Hey guys, if you like what we just did, there's going to be plenty more coming up. Please like, comment, subscribe. Our Venmo is in the description. Please support us if you can. Our cats need the money.